Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for Mr. Cohn. Last week we were scheduled to have this hearing on Wednesday, and it was canceled. And we were told, at least I was told up until yesterday, that Mr. Bernanke would be here. How long has it been that you knew that you would have to appear? Is this something you just found out about?
Late last week.
Late last week. Well, we weren't notified. Not that that is all that crucial, but we, in looking at the schedule, we do know that Mr. Bernanke, Chairman Bernanke, had a speaking engagement in London. It's been scheduled, a long time ago. I think it's been a month, and he's also had a scheduled meeting, in Basel, Switzerland yesterday. So it seems like we could have been told about that. Now, these hearings, I agree, are very important. I think they're vital that we have them. And, of course, Chairman Bernanke's speech today was very important. The world listened closely to what he had to say. But one thing that we don't know about is what happened in Basel, Switzerland, at the Bank of International Settlement, because he was meeting there, obviously, with other central bankers. Now, I'm interested in as much transparency as possible and trying to figure out what's going on. So is that a meeting that we could get the information on and know exactly what transpired and what the discussions were and what the agreements were? Is that something that should be available to us here in the Banking Committee?
If there are agreements reached there, which it's basically a forum for exchanging ideas, for finding out how other central bankers see their economies developing and what issues they see, for giving them a chance to ask us questions and us to ask them questions. It's not a forum for reaching agreements that are binding on particular central banks. If we were to reach an agreement with other central banks to do something, obviously we would tell people about it.
Well, that sounds plausible, but we also know that when we ask the Federal Reserve and we ask the Federal Reserve Board chairman about, exactly where the funds go that they allocate, we really don't get the answers, and there's trillions of dollars worth of credit that are injected into the economy, and we're not privy to exactly what is going on. So there's a few people who get suspicious and wonder what really goes on under these discussions, because you don't have minutes, you don't have really any access. As a matter of fact, those kind of meetings are exempt from our oversight by law. They're exempt. We're not even allowed to have that if information isn't given to us voluntarily. But I want to ask another question dealing with the process. It seems like we have two vehicles. One, we have where the Congress is involved and we debate and we interject our beliefs and we appropriate money and we give it to the Treasury, and the Treasury do certain things, and then we allow them too much license and then we're unhappy. And we have that approach. But the other approach is the Federal Reserve, and there's essentially no oversight of what the Federal Reserve does, and we don't know how that occurs. But it seems like the Federal Reserve, in my understanding of the law, is the Federal Reserve has a great deal of license to do whatever it wants. And it seems like they can bail out anybody, buy up any assets. And I'm just wondering why the line is drawn where the Fed is involved in trillions of dollars where we have no oversight, but then we come over to the Treasury and we insist that it goes through this process and almost like, yes, we're really in charge. But do you see a line drawn? Why do we have to appropriate money sometimes, at the other time we totally ignore it?
I think there's a lot of oversight of the Federal Reserve. The fact that I'm sitting here is, and Chairman Bernanke comes to this committee frequently, is an important part of that oversight. We publish a great deal about our facilities, what we're lending, who the uses that the funds are being put to. Is it being lent for commercial paper? Is it being lent to banks for lending, et cetera? So we publish on a weekly basis that material.
Of course, then we get the information that you want us to have. But I've been on the Financial Services Committee for a long time, but would you invite me to the FOMC meeting? That's something that, we get the minutes later on, but we really don't
get a transcript after 5 years, but I think, and you get the minutes after 3 weeks. I think opening the Federal Open Market Committee to the public would greatly inhibit the discussion in that committee meeting. I think that it would promote financial speculation and would impinge on making good decisions.